Okay, why don't we start? Good morning. I am going to chair the last session of the 11th Annual Global Development Conference. This roundtable is on a very important topic, reforming global financial governance. This is the title of the roundtable discussion. However, the very notable speakers and discussants that we have today will be free, obviously, to enlarge the domain of financial governance to other aspects. So this is a free-thinking session around global governance. So the mechanics of this last session is the following one. Each speaker will have 12 minutes. Then there will be 3 minutes for each of them at the end of when they speak for the first time for rebuttal and to make some comments. And then the last half hour will be totally dedicated to the questions from the floor. So as you can see, there is a very distinguished panel. We have an addition that is Dr. Ernesto Cedillo, our chairman of the board, but here representing as director of the Yale Center for the Study of Globalization. And I'm not going to go through to read the biographies. Everybody here in the panel are very well known, and we are eager to listen to them. So I will ask François Bourguignon, who is an R&P head of EUDN, directeur doyen of the Paris School of Economics in France. So I will ask first François to start the discussion.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jerry. It's a pleasure to be here, and certainly quite a challenge to be talking about this issue of global financial governance or global governance in general. I must say that for many years I thought that any time that the global financial governance was on the agenda of those big meetings by the G7, then the G20, it was basically because the Sherpas didn't know really how to fill the agenda. There were not enough to discuss, and there was always something to be said about global financial governance. As a matter of fact, on the 2 sister institutions, the World Bank and the IMF. So when there was nothing to say, it was still possible to criticize what was done in those institutions and the way in which those institutions were working. Now, today the situation is different for several reasons. First, on the financial side, it is true that we are going through a very deep, serious crisis, which raises issues about the way in which the global economy should be managed in the future. And at the same time, we are also facing at the global level constraints on development, which are quite serious, and something has to be done about this, and it is very difficult to imagine that anything could be done without a very substantial progress in global governance. So what at some stage may have been some way of filling space in agendas today is really at the core of what should be discussed in international gatherings, and I think it is a very good idea that this conference is tackling this issue. Now, I'm not an expert in international macro, in international finance, so I will not really get into the details of the various types of regulations that do exist and the problems with Solvency II, Basel II, and the IFRS, etc., etc. I will try to look at things in a much simpler way. First, trying to list quickly what are the functions that we are expecting from a global governance system in the financial sphere. Second, to look at how the functions today are covered by different institutions, and this, of course, will lead us again to the pillars of the whole system, which are the IMF and the World Bank and the other regional development banks. And we'll see that those institutions, together with the institution in Basel, are not covering all the functions that are needed. And this means that there is still big problems in terms of global governance, and I would like to stress that. My second point will be about the fact that with the evolution, with development in the world, the role of the IMF and the role of the World Bank has considerably changed, and then some words should be said about what we see as a mission for them in the future. And finally, I would like to link global financial governance issues with global, real global governance issues, and in particular with the environmental issue. It seems to me that the most important challenge that we're facing is really on the side of the environment, and where progress is most badly needed is really on that front. And I would like to say a few words on the direction in which global governance, reflection of global governance could go in this area, and to insist on the fact that as a matter of fact, there may be links between global financial issues and the way in which the environment problem can be solved. So let me get into the matter first. What are the main functions that we are expecting from governance in the national economy and by extension in the global economy? It seems to me that we can distinguish the four following functions. Regulation. We need some rules to decide about, to make sure that financial institutions will not get bankrupt, will not get insolvent, will not take too much risk, etc. Insurance of depositors, insurance of the fact that there will always be enough liquidity in the system so that the economy can function. Smoothing in two different dimensions, maybe ex ante smoothing. We need governance is about having an actor able to intervene when there is a feeling that something is going wrong or there is some kind of imbalance or some kind of disequilibrium in the system. So this is what I would call intervention. And then we also need smoothing on an ex post basis. If there has been a crisis, then we know that there will be liquidity, many people or many institutions or many agents, liquidity constraint, and then the problem is to provide the liquidity in order to smooth the adjustment or to smooth the shock. And finally, governance requires coordination of different things. In a national economy, I would say it is more coordination of expectations about what will happen in the future, what will be the future prices, so that agents can make decisions without too much uncertainty about the future. This requires some announced goals like inflation goals and others, but this also requires some analysis and diagnostic made by some central institution in the system. At the global level, coordination requires coordination of policies of different actors, and in particular in a world where there are several big actors, the role of which is extremely important, has a huge impact on the global economy. The whole issue about global imbalances is probably the best example of this need for coordination of policies. Many people believe that global imbalances to some extent are at the root of the crisis that we have gone through or we are going through.